Hi everyone. Today is the 21st of March 2025 and today I'll continue like usual, start with an introduction before I actually talk about what's on my heart. So welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Minna Crichton. So if you go onto all my YouTube channel, all the video clips are narrated by myself. I'm a bit of an amateur. I'm doing video clips, but just going to go with what you've got. So I'll just continue on. My YouTube channel is all about me, myself, and my entity, about my facts of life, and also linking to my court case in the courts at the moment. And I will just continue. So basically, I'm actually dealing with my personal property in the courts. So that's what's currently going on at the moment, and I'm just doing in the moment evidence as I'm motivated to do it, or I feel like I need to put a clip up challenging the opposing allies because of the public deception and the public opposition, and me being such a private person. But if you ignore the public, whatever is going on behind the scene, it does affect everything you do in your private life. Okay, so I'm dealing with my testimony, my entity, my identity, my ideas, my personal property, and it's all about me. But it's also in reference to all my court cases in the courts. Okay, just bear in mind, I'm been in a lockout situation. I guess when you mind your own business, and like I have always been one of those citizens that mind their own business, the danger of that, if you're not, if you're too busy, or just busy with life, which most people are, like myself, have been in the past. But the things that have happened to me have been just by privacy breaches, and then eventually getting out of hand. And then I just ended up going through what I'm going through now, where people have used me for relationship scams, money laundering, theft of intellectual property, and so many other things. But anyway, we'll just go with it. I guess the post that I'm actually using actually kind of really explains from a victim's point of view of how it actually works. The things there are indirect crimes and committed by people who are doing everything indirect, and it's actually quite serious to be living in that kind of condition. But that is what actually eventually happens when of home invasion or privacy breaches. They do eventually accumulate to the individual being isolated and going through what I'm going through. So the posts that I actually put together myself, I'm basically putting them my personal experience in graphic design from my own visual thoughts and what I see when I do go out. Okay, but this is what it actually looks like. But we're dealing with people who walk around like zombies, but it's actually organized crimes. So basically, we're dealing with what's natural and what is not natural. It has been a global game, so I've been globally locked out, and I can actually confirm that. I can actually prove that legally, going back to when I was working for my employer from 2008 and so forth. By 2010, all hell broke loose. But when I was going back at that point of time with the things that I was going through, people were using their car like a way of stalking, and they still are. So it's like before the technologies or anything like that, or vehicles, it used to be people used to use horses or whatever kind of way they can travel back then. But nowadays everything's technology and vehicles. But people are using their vehicles and their jobs and their coding individuals and their families. And it is a global game. So basically, if it's not natural, it means somebody is controlling and manipulating your situation. This here, it's basically just like who's playing God, really. When they micromanage your life, or trap somebody, or they have full control of everything of you to do with you, and then behind the scene they're just using other people to coerce you or to trap you, and then they're just pressing buttons and just watching you through surveillance. Okay, this year, this is me just talking about. This actually belonged to one of my video clips when I was making it in a couple of years back, but I learned about scientific experiments on human when I was in school, and human trafficking when I was in school, different kinds. I never thought in my lifetime that I would ever end up being traffic victim myself, or a victim of trafficking, because there's different types of trafficking, okay? But with this technology system and what I've personally gone through, my case is definitely trafficking in persons, because that is what the evidence shows on my personal property. But knowing that when I was in school growing up, that actually made me have an understanding that what I was going through was not natural, and that I was very likely subject to something out of my control, but it was a negative force, meaning it wasn't natural. It means somebody else was controlling and manipulating me and breaking the law. So that actually made me see my journey quite differently growing up. So I think what I really liked, why I did do my channel in the beginning, was to dedicate it to trafficking victims and just bring awareness, because it does make a difference when you are aware of these kind of things. It just because some people, it can happen to people and they think they're actually cursed, or they don't know how to get themselves out of it. Or they blame themselves, but it's so dangerous, because the whole idea of whoever's behind it is to actually get you into depression and trapped and nowhere to turn. It's pretty brutal. It's ruthless, and if you're not strong mentally or emotionally, most people do end up committing suicide. Okay, personal experience. The indirect pain and suffering, I would classify it as first degree murder, or like first degree offences. If I died, it would be because of the intimate impact that it has on me, and they are playing with my emotions. And usually if I'm in love with somebody or something, relationships are used. But even before then, when I was going to church, I wasn't actually in a relationship with anyone, but they were still using relationship scams. When I was working, I was a single professional woman for a very long time, for years and years, but they were still using relationship scam tactic on me to twin and switch, and it's quite clear on my video clips, and it's quite clear on all the incidents that I've gone through historically. But they are all criminal alliances doing unlawful acts, acting zombie, and it is organised crime by secret societies. Okay, I like to use this because I believe that there was a serial, like I said, I'm learning about all these as things go by, and I wouldn't have actually realized what I was going through until I actually went through it myself and become a victim to it. But it was unavoidable when you're actually trapped. Some things that you just don't have control over, except just to go through it and do the best you can, to protect yourself, or safety first, or whatever. But I believe I've been through some kind of global serial cyber syndicates. There's all types of reasons why people do what they do, but it is criminal, and I believe that I've been subject to something to do with men with blue eyes, and that's clearly quite what I am. I feel I don't know who's behind it. I can't point the finger, although I do know. If I was to mention who to investigate, I'd be quite accurate of my suspicion, because they've been in the moment as I've, through my journey. Victims always knows who is their perpetrator, usually. And so I have been subject to relationship scam going back when I was at church, and that's where it kind of sort of started. And but people have used me like a money tree, and also a foot in the door to men. They've used me, clone and then switch, but different cultures, different states, different religions have all used me like a product, like a human sacrifice. So I would classify what I'm going through as very, 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 very serious. There's nothing, I haven't found anything good about what I've gone through, but some of these cultures and these religions are quite barbaric, if you know what I mean. And it is very, very serious. And these people, they don't care about the law. They would sacrifice themselves, to do what they'll do, whatever it takes. And that's why it makes it even more dangerous for any victims who become subject to global cybercrime. Okay, so I believe it has to do with the white men or the European culture. I was actually brought up in a European culture, so I'm very much European minded, because it was just the culture I was brought up in, and I'm very privileged to know all the things I do because of my background, and just being able to just to grow up in it. And so I've been blessed because I do have the best of both worlds, and in more of a positive side, and also knowing the negative, so it kind of helps me have a balance. But some of these religions and some of these cultures are quite barbaric. I'm not really into culture. What I mean by that is that I like it, but I'm not. I have never been involved, like even in my own culture. It's just my culture. It was just the way I was brought up, and it was just the way my father brought me up, and my siblings at the time. But some of these cultures and these religions, they are quite barbaric, and they're quite dangerous, and they would react not in a good sense if you're not aware. But what makes it really serious is because they are using their jobs, and they are making the public unsafe for the public, because they are actually using their jobs, and they are actually acting out their motive and intent to do to kill or whatever it is. They shouldn't even be doing that. Situations like that, back in the days, you'd ring the cops for anything suspicious, if people use their vehicles hanging around, you could ring the company and let them know, or find out why is that person at such and such place. Because those are the kind of things you need to look out for, because they are using their jobs, they're using their rubbish trucks, they're using their trucks, those big trucks, to cause car accidents. I don't believe they've always been accidents, but they are quite barbaric, and some of these people are pretty professional at causing accidents, if you're not aware. So what we're dealing with is what is natural justice or natural law. This also goes for natural environment. So unfortunately, I'm the reality is, while I was working for my employer, which is the starting point of what happened to me, is that I was being secretly animated or inanimated in the workplace. I knew things wasn't right because the working conditions I was under was not good. But legally, by law, that's exactly what the evidence shows, that I was being criminally animated against my will, and other people were using me secretly without my consent. Or they've used me like a duplicate, stealing my ideas or copying everything I'm doing and diverting it to them or somebody else. I'm still going through that from time to time when I go out in public. I find it so frustrating. I can't even sit, somewhere without people coming in my space doing what they're doing. But they've used me for like a foot in the door to relationship scams. I find it really frustrating. It just seems people just seem to just do it because they think they can, but they are actually breaking the law. So people actually do it because money's involved, obviously. Others have used it because it links to my court cases, it links to everything that I'm going through. So this is where the zombie people come on. Like when yesterday when I was on the bus, this took place, was on the bus. I get frustrated because I sense it straight away. I don't know who's organising it. But it doesn't make me feel safe because I know that they're exactly what they're going to do, and they are staging what they're doing, even just in public transport or when I'm driving a car, they use their car, but it's a gang, but they're using their vehicle, their occupation. It's quite serious, and they lie to you, or they don't give you the right information, or they sabotage all your applications just to make things difficult, or to help the other woman or whoever is being used to steal off me. Okay, so after years, of course, common sense, when people are illegally recording you, I'm talking about going back 2008. I suspected I was being recorded and monitored and studied under the camera while I was working for my employer, and also when I went out in public. So over time, eventually, those playing God with your life thinks they know you, and of course they've taken advantage of an individual. The abuse has been quite disgusting in most cases, because they've anything positive that I do or say, they are doing the opposite. So the reason why I'm going to try and be consistent is to oppose the opposing allies' strategy of continuing on doing what they're doing versus mine, because it's all about getting the public attention, and also it's a tactic to sabotage anything I say, like to make out that I'm actually lying versus what they're saying. So only one of us is telling the truth, but one of us is breaking the law, and in the sense of you're either committing a conspiracy, you're lying, or you're not. So that's why I'm doing this video clip again today, is to do with the public deception and relationship. Okay, guys, it's been a Game of Thrones relationship scam, okay? It's been so frustrating for me because I'm so private and I prefer my privacy, but for years I've been that private. Little did I know my privacy was gone because people were animating me and doing the public deception, which explains why things were difficult for me in my private life, if you can understand where I'm coming from. It's another reason why you need to read your circumstances carefully, that no one is actually targeting you and sabotaging everything you're doing. It just gets your mindset to realize that you may be not safe. So that's what I've been going through. But the relationship game is a Game of Thrones of like who can get the guy or who can get the woman, all right? And that's what I've been subject to. So whoever is doing it, they're just taking turns in my situation. So I'm just speaking my evidence when I need to, when I feel to challenge them, okay? So I like to use this. This is the best way to describe. I'm actually their victim, okay? So these women are not victims, okay? And the defendants in my court cases, which are the Crown is representing them, they are not victims. They are the criminal, okay? They are the offender. So I'm standing against all of them because maybe if I'd have done this going backwards to 2010, I wouldn't be going through everything I was going through. But it's quite clear what happens is, when your privacy is gone and you're unaware, because now with what I've gone through since I met Henry, since Henry found me, because I wasn't actually looking for anyone. He actually found me, and then until he got my full attention, until he realized I was his, and then our relationship just went the way he wanted it. But he was actually not in a relationship for like nearly 10 months or maybe a bit more before I met him. He wasn't with Natalie. They were in a serious relationship before then, but he told me he cheated on him, and so that was the cause of why their romantic relationship was over, because he caught her cheating. So it has nothing to do with me, okay? So he wasn't in any serious relationship for like nearly 10 months when I met him, and all the other public relationships that are on the surface, none of them were actually real relationship. He's not into one night stands, so all the public lies and everything that men and women are saying about him is not actually true. Because I actually know the real person. He's actually not my type, and I'm not actually his type. Well, he's never said that to me, but I've told him that I'm not your type, and he's not my type because I'm not, I've never really been into rich men for money or anything like that, only because I just didn't feel I'm just a simple person. But anyway, he ended up being everything that I love about him and more. So I've had to oppose or denounce the public deception with the relationship scam, because the criminal alliances involving me historically are using these women on their behalf. Okay, so the women may be victims, I don't know, but I think they do know what they're doing is wrong. But I believe other cultures and religions have used them. For example, I know they've used Echo's name at church, and they've used her name. The Indians have all used it. They've all I hope you'll get the picture, but this is where the illegal Commonwealth game takes place, and then the public are quite barbaric in some of the cultures, because to them it's a real game of sabotaging, and so they're just breaking all the laws, and it's actually been very hostile, very dangerous, and it's not safe for anybody, especially for innocent civilians in the public. And the police won't act because they're all part of it, or they just tell people to go online and put their complaint, which is not good enough. That's very serious. It's not good enough. It shouldn't be happening, and by law they shouldn't even be doing that, because they can get sued for that. So if they don't know that, they should know that. So I'm just announcing this female here, Amy Denton. I don't know why she's sending me her video clips, so I'll have a listen. And I didn't like her video clip she's just put out recently. I gave it to Henry to listen to it. He's not happy about it, and he told me to actually report it. But I'm just going to denounce it like every other video clips. And I'm denouncing it because her alliance followed me yesterday when I went out public. But that's quite serious stuff, okay? I'm a single female. I should be able to walk around my country not having these criminal alliances of these women in my space on their behalf, being rude, making threats, and just being disgusting, okay? But I listened to her latest clip, and she's ranting and raving like she is Henry's girlfriend. She's saying that she's pregnant to him, and she's saying that he's going to make an announcement and he's going to marry her. And I'm denouncing all that. Henry's actually not happy about it because she is talking to an imposter, okay? The other thing she was talking about in her clip, what was it? Yeah, she's made an announcement on her clip. Oh yeah, she says she has sex with him. Okay, that's just the biggest joke in the world. If anyone in their right mind believe that female, she's not well. She's not stable, and she's been groomed. I've had her alliances of men in my country on her behalf. They're using the symbol of a white van to represent her in my country, and some of these men have been in my space, and I've seen black men in my space. They're doing the indirect disgusting acts on me, on women's parts and stuff like that. Really, it's a suicidal pact, okay? That's why I'm saying some of the criminal pact in my space, it's intentional. And unfortunately, the government's in big trouble for allowing someone like myself go through what I've gone through. I don't know what they want to call it, but that's why I have to denounce it, because these criminal alliances are relying on no one believing the victims. They used the Mental Health Act on me intentionally. Everything was a setup, okay? Everything was linked. And Moana is co-Asian, and I have a reasonable belief one of her auntie or somebody in her family is one of the defendants in my case in the Ministry of Health. She is linked to Church of Christ. Okay, so that's why sometimes if you hear in my voice that I'm mad or angry, because I am. I'm actually the aggrieved victim. Okay, so it's justifiable if I don't sound very nice sometimes, because if you were in my footstep and had to go through what I've suffered, it's just inhumane, and I find it really disgusting that they're still doing it. But the alliance is really serious, and it is global, which makes it really serious. Okay. I have a very good memory. I can undo every single criminal people in my space easy. Okay. So that's why I'm standing against the global cowardice, cultural state, whether it's all the Indians against me or all the white supremacists who are racist against me. But I know that not everyone is against me, because they all know me. Those that know me personally knows that I'm not a bad person. But it's really serious what these people are doing. And even this female here, whatever her name is, Chai or Che or whatever, she's linked to Rob, and Rob was my ex. Okay, I knew Rob from when I was working at the Ministry of Justice. We met there. We met at work. We knew we were good friends for a long time before anything went romantic. Didn't take long. And so what I'm saying is other cultures, are stealing off me intentionally. Then they're actually using my religion as some kind of excuse. I can't have a boyfriend or whatever reason they're doing what they're doing. But that's serious, okay? I don't believe in relationship setups. I don't believe in, I arranged marriages. I don't believe anything like that. In fact, I'm quite sure you'll get by now, I'm actually very Euro-minded thinking, going back to what I do for my job. So I'm not cultural thinking, like I don't think about things like that because that means nothing to me. As far as the law is concerned, I see the law as black and white, and if you've broken the law, you've broken the law. You can't do the in-between thing. And I think that's why half of the reason why people don't like me, because top-notch judges, criminal judges and top-notch barristers think just like me, and they know exactly where I'm coming from. But I'm within my space to denounce this Miss Amy Denton, okay? You can all be done for conspiracy and all the other tarot readings if you're all linked to conspiracy, warlike crimes. Henry is a very private person and he doesn't have a secret girlfriend. But yesterday when I went on the bus, they came on the bus and sat by me and did their indirect thing, and I'm just like rolling my eyes back, and I just felt that environment was staged, and I don't like it when they do that because it's not right, and it's not meant to be like that. That's unsafe. It tells me the opposing allies are in my space doing what they're doing. So I'm denouncing that because I know my family's watching this. So it's up to you guys to believe, someone that I've actually listened to this female. She's been in me and Henry's space for a long time. Henry does not know her. His mother does not even know her. But the technologies are easy to create evidence, okay? Like, for example, you can talk to somebody and they think you got a new boyfriend. Henry is not the type of man to cheat. He's not a cheat, okay? But all these technologies, you can just tell by the way they've all ruined his reputation. His celebrity life is actually he's lost his identity somewhere in the celebrity life, thanks to, the smear campaign by his haters leading up to him almost getting murdered. So that is another reason why I am opposing all this, and with Henry's 100% consent, because I speak on behalf of both of us, all right? And so I will continue to do so for both of us, our safety. Why would he be dating someone when someone robbed his mother? He nearly got killed coming out of an operation. And if this Miss Amy Denton thinks that she's all that and that she is with the real Henry Cavill, why didn't he choose her to be by his side when he was sick? Because he doesn't even know her. So, you all just really don't listen to gossip, okay? It's a deception. It's a lie. I mean, I hear things myself and I'm like, oh yeah, but if I really want to know something, whether something is true, I actually go and find out and ask the person. Other than that, everything else doesn't mean anything. But the only reason why I'm opposing it, because it's affecting me. It's affecting the reason why people are doing what they're doing is because of my court cases. They're sabotaging my court cases and all my applications, okay? And they're trying to make out that I'm the crazy one. And I tell you, without a shadow of doubt, and as God is my witness, I am not crazy. If I say something, it's the truth. Whether you believe me or not, that's your problem. But I am denouncing all this, okay? Henry is like, he just wants his private life. He will deal with the public when he's ready. in the PR thing, he's not even working. He's not even in a position to be working. I can't tell you what's going on with him right now. He is safe, but he's definitely not working. He's been sick and he's recovering really well, and he's still not ready to deal with any of this. And I'm actually dealing with it. He supports me 100% in everything I'm doing, because I'm doing it for both of us and for my court case, because he's actually in my court case exhibits, because I have noted in my file about the relationship scam. So all these women here are, you can become an offender, because the world is not free to do whatever you want. Okay, that's why we have laws. So just take that as a warning. Whatever I put on my page or my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, the laws that I use, you could be charged for that. But I am opposing this female's latest video and any other tarot readers. Okay, and by law, because Henry doesn't actually really know his rights as an individual, but by law, unless somebody, privacy laws, unless the Henry himself has said to those tarot readers, can you please do me a reading? That is the only time, legally by law, you can actually do a reading on somebody. So other than that, it is a criminal tactic, conspiracy. So I'm opposing that. As a self-defense, I'm opposing that publicly. Okay. Because the laws is for everyone, and I'm entitled to walk around or go around in my country without these criminal alliances in my space threatening. Some of the people that come out when I'm by myself are not good people. It's like the gangs are all involved in this game, which makes it really unsafe for anyone who gets trapped in this kind of a system that I'm going through. So I think I will leave it there. So I'm denouncing even the secret girlfriends. I mean, it's quite disgusting and rude for me that these people are actually acting out. So if you're watching, I'll go back to the law. I was referring to the law before. Let me just go in there and find it. Because it's overseas, it is acts of terrorism, right? Even if you're doing it on behalf of somebody, because they are coding people, that makes it even more serious. So you are participating in terrorist groups, even the bus drivers, people using their jobs. I'm the victim. So you would fall in this category, participating in terrorist groups. I mean, like, they're doing this public deception, then they come and sit next to me to try and let me know that he's cheating or he's with someone else and he's not with me. And then the musicians are using songs and lyrics to feed the public. And so can you see what they're doing? They're trying to create an illusion and put thoughts in the public. But the big danger about it is affecting innocent civilians like myself. It is affecting everything I'm doing, because everyone is. It's all got to do with money also, and there is that. Then there is that guy with Natalie pretending to be Henry. I mean, I can't even believe she could even do that. But that's an imposter. That guy, that Henry guy. So I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. But according to the law, because of the pattern and the sequence and the consistency of what I'm going through, and how it stops and it starts again, they're just using different people. And because it's global, it becomes participation in terrorist groups. Let's find out what else. Might as well explain the laws. It's also, the way that Henry got, somebody tried to OD him and then I got poisoned. That would kind of it's like bombing somebody or trying to kill somebody. So the danger of defamation and public defamation or public criminal defamation. The whole idea is to drown and then, so nobody will end up eventually care about the victim, and if they get murdered, no one cares. Okay, that's what actually happened to my girlfriend Angela. Okay, she was a victim to trafficking. But this is what happens when, like the people are staging their acts, come and sit next to me. It's also a suicidal pact because they're hurting me, because, they know that I'm in love with him. And guess what, guys? He loves me. And he's just the most amazing guy I know. And nothing's ever going to break us up, okay? At the moment, we feel like the whole world is against us, but we know also God's on our side. But this here is the best way to describe acts, tourist acts, okay? Because they are sitting, like they're staging it, and they're in my space to let me know who is they're hurting me. So that's what I call first degree manslaughter or anything, because the pain and suffering that they're intentionally doing it, and to get other people evilly, they know they're hurting me, and then they would put things in my space to let me know, I'm going, it's hellish, whatever. But the things that they have done to me is absolutely inhumane. And other times, like on my Facebook page, they're actually sending really disgusting pornographic stuff on my page. I can't put that on my page because of other people. I don't, it's not something you want to put on a page, but they're sending it to me, and all I can do is block it, and I can't do anything. But legally, by law, those people can actually be fined. It's just like if somebody went running around naked in public and with no clothes on, that person would be fined. So if you're sending out pornographic, rude, sex, children go on Facebook, that's a fine. That's an automatic fine if you get caught. And so I've had all kinds of horrific, ugly stuff happening in my space for people to try, and it's all intentional, and it's cybercrime. But according to the laws, that is what you call acts of terrorists. Even though it's organised crime, it's done subtly. They're already in my space, but it also shows the intimacy, meaning even Henry's applications, my applications, were all, if they're being declined, there's a consistency already in my pattern, in my profile. So after the fact, it can be proven. Okay, you're the corporation involved, because it's quite clear now. Everyone believes me that they're coding, and it's global. And I think a lot of honest civilians, they're realizing, oh my gosh, that is serious. But I'm telling you, it is serious. How many people I've watched in the beginning. I worked with the government. That's why I used the protected disclosure, because I knew how serious a breach was. I knew eventually people were going to get hurt. I knew that people were going to eventually get murdered. I knew all that. It's just common sense. And I worked in the jury trial depositions, and doing murder cases, like indictable cases, like real serious fraud cases. So, I'm not the type of person who would break the law, because I worked with the law, and I'm a law-abiding citizen. But that's why I felt it's in my place that, to actually help people understand the law, because you just won't break the law if you understand it. It just makes you, just common sense. You just don't do it. You don't put your own kids at risk, because I have found that, the game has backfired on innocent civilians. And these people that are actually grooming innocent civilians, they do not care if you live or die, okay? They've killed people, stole their money, used their money to pay other people. This is the kind of thing I've witnessed, okay? I'm talking from experience and things I've witnessed myself personally, dealing with real life crimes. I'm the type of person that I'm pretty super independent. I always have been. And I'm glad that I am, actually. But I'm the type of person, I don't like the middleman thing. I don't listen to gossip. Okay, I hear it, I see it. If I need to know it, I will go ask the person that's involved. Other than that, I don't care. But I'm standing against this because this is affecting my private life. It's affecting Henry. It's endangering, not just affecting, it's endangering us. And it was also, those people need to stop it, like serious. So these are all the things that can happen when you go through what I'm going through, okay? So just read it yourself at your own time. It is organised crime. And if you ignore it, they can take over you. And by the time you don't do anything about it, it's too late. That's how serious what I'm talking about. It's actually very serious. You should never accept it as normal, because you're only endangering yourself and your children. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. They may come back and, and do something that, like take your children or something like that. I've never brought my children up, or, I just, when it comes to things like organised crime, you're actually teaching your children wrong things. That's just wrong. I don't believe that's good parenting. Okay, so these posters, just read it on your own time. I mean, these people, they are thriving on killing people, blood money. Okay, they're for real. They're for real. And they can only exist if you do what they want. If you want to be a puppet for them and or you commit a crime just for them, they will turn on you and kill you anyway. It happens, and they'll just go get somebody else. But they call themselves shadow people. I believe that's why I get a lot of opposition, because I'm not the type of person who would, never in my life would I even go and do something for somebody else. Or if someone told me to do something that's not right, I'd tell them, go do it yourself. So if you'd like what these tarot readings are doing, they're actually breaking the law. I've also been used for branding, okay? I know that these people have been used for branding, but I've actually looked up the law. But it's actually a false statement by promoter. Why are they being branded for? What's so great about them? Now that the truth of what they've done to me, what makes their brand the brand that people will go for, not with the way they've done what they've done, if you know what I'm saying. But they've done it through using somebody, or somebody has paid them to do it so they can get branded. But the reason why people get branded are for positive reasons, not bad reasons. Okay, and the reason why people follow good people is because they are a good leader, or somebody, they've done good things. Okay, they're the kind of things that they're doing things because they've earned it, not steal it or use somebody else. But I've actually looked up the law. But these people, they can be charged 10 years imprisonment because it's false statement by promoter. This includes their video promotions and stuff like that. Different if you're an actor. If you're an actor and they're promoting acting, that's a different thing. But if you're trying to promote and talk about somebody's private life that is not true, and they have not given you consent, you have no legal right to do it, and they haven't consented to it, you're breaking the law for branding, like all that kind of thing. Okay, it's 10 years imprisonment. This here, I've actually, a lot of my posts, in fact, all my posts is not my own idea or my own thoughts. They're actually from the legislation and me interpreting it in plain English for those that don't understand how to read the legislation. Okay, but I have definitely been used like a product without my consent. But this is the reality of animating or inanimate a individual. This 2 words is only found in the criminal legislation. It is not found anywhere else. So if those words are in the criminal legislation, it actually means criminal unlawful acts. So if you're doing that, anyone that is a victim can actually prosecute you guys for doing what you're doing, because unless they've consented it, then yeah, you're breaking the law, and it is 10 years imprisonment. So yeah, so I'm denouncing all that, and I think I'll leave it at that. I've gone too long. And I will continue to denounce public deception for the sake of those watching me, keeping everybody honest. But I'm the sort of person that I actually do not listen to gossip. Like, I listen to some of these tarot readers and I'm thinking, you're just not real. And then they're making predictions on a relationship that's not real. I was like, what is this world coming to? But in saying that, it is making it real, the real life people who is actually, the original. For example, look at the things that Henry's gone through, and then other people, Natalie, and all these fake things going on the surface. And yeah, his reputation definitely was ruined just by the celebrity life. But no one is actually free to actually defame somebody. Everything, every act, every oral word said, everything written is if it's on the wrong for the wrong reason, it can be used against you. And the other thing for those guys, I'm a Christian, but some of these people behind what I'm going through, they've been atheists. They've been people who do not believe in God, and I feel that that's part of the hellish torment I've gone through. Or people, like gay people just being ruthless and just, or other religions just seeing the opportunity to be cruel and to just do their evil, whatever they've done. I mean, they know, some people just don't like, it's just that other people just see the opportunity, to do the opposite. I've been in a situation where it has been out of my control. Some of nearly everything I've been through, it's been organised. And, when things are being organised, the situation is different. Like, I think if I had my freedom, a lot of things I've gone through, I wouldn't actually be going through it. But it is what it is. But there's a massive difference when, from being from a natural environment to a controlled environment. So yes, I'll just leave that at that. So I can actually prove that I've been used for hostage taking 100%. Probably every single legislation has been broken on me, and even Henry. It's just the things that I do know what he's been through. He's definitely gone through some things that I've gone through, except the difference between me and him is that I know the law and he doesn't. And using somebody like a human hard drive, if you don't know, it's crimes against humanity. And it's definitely a Crimes Act case. So over the years, I've been a confidential, original kind of a person. This is like the outside world, but I didn't really, everything kind of didn't come to reality for me as reality, as quite evidentially real, until I actually started going on social media, until I actually started doing my court cases, and just a lot of things. I was like, oh my gosh, when I actually put my case together, I was like, that's very bad. I think my case is probably one of the worst cases that I've ever, like, for an individual. When I used to do courts and stuff, I never thought I'd be doing my own case. Every case is really bad. I'm still alive, so I'm lucky for that. But I'm talking about historically the different incidents that have taken place, and what people have used to me is really, really, really serious. There's definitely evidence of a love triangle. That's without a shadow of doubt. I knew I've been used for, espionage, but I've also known for a very long time someone overseas was watching over me because they'd let me know. So, I mean, the fact that they're flying from overseas just to do what they're doing goes to prove how serious everyone, how everyone's in danger. No one is safe, especially with the way the laws are. Okay. But yeah, I mean, if they're coming overseas and if people in our government or within our police force or courts are like all participating behind the scene, they're committing treason. That's not good. Okay, so behind what we're going through are extremists, people. We can't see them, but we know they're there. And they're using other people to carry out whatever it is they want to do. So that's the condition I'm under. But it's not safe. I would never accept it as safe and normal. But I'm used to it, but it's still not safe, and I'll still oppose it. But if you're feeling that way, just read your set of circumstance properly. And if you know somebody that you can trust, then talk to them. Try not to, just read your circumstance correctly, because it's really horrible, because they do play on your mind, and there's the cause. I reckon this system is dangerous because it can get people into depression, suicidal thoughts. I'm not perfect. I've been through it too. And even to incite to mutiny, or like with involving this game, of course, it involves inciting. That's 10 years imprisonment. So if you're coding and tipping people off and you get caught and it's linked to a conspiracy crime scene, you can get charged 10 years imprisonment. So I'm telling you, everything is like, secret society or not. You risk yourself getting caught. But it's actually $1 million for each secret society that gets caught in participating in organized crime. So do it at your own risk. The system, it is fault finding. They like to victimize their victims to death. That is their whole idea, and I found that they've never stopped. Okay, they've like let it settle for a while, and then they've attacked me again. And I do believe they're attacking certain type of individuals, maybe because of their religion, like me. That I believe that's why I was being attacked, because they knew who I was. Or other times it's because they just don't like strong women, or they don't like strong men. There you go. Other forms of discrimination. His penalty is 20 years imprisonment. So my intention is to deal with everything globally, like everything to do with me in the courts. Here you go. This here, I put a balloon there, but I have found that the enemy likes to put stress on people, and they've done that to me. And then they like to, they try and wear out the victim, trying to, they're playing mind games with to get you into into a mindset where you might commit suicide. I've gone there. I've gone to that level several times, but I'd never commit suicide. Not with everything I know. I don't believe in it, especially because I'm a Christian. I did try to commit suicide when I was a lot younger. I've got a video out on that, but I was an immature young Christian, and I did try it. I ended up going into the hospital because I overdosed, and they made me drink something to drain out what I took, tablets. But if I had actually committed suicide, my kids would have been orphans. But at that point of time, I was under tremendous stress. I had family violence. I was in a really serious abusive relationship. It wasn't good. It was an on and off relationship. It was mostly off. We had nothing in common whatsoever. I was a teenage mom. But what I was going through at that point of time, it did made me, to commit suicide because of what I'd gone through. But as years went by, I grew in my faith. I got stronger, and then I realized, my faith in God just grew and grew until I got, God led me to work for the courts. And I think I've already got a video out there. I shared my experience, my testimony there, where I had an encounter with the Holy Spirit, and it actually convicted me. My job convicted me, and I've never gone to that sort of mindset where I will commit suicide. But I just know my boundaries, I know my limits, and I just know myself. And I've basically over the years, I micromanage my own health. I micromanage my own mental health. I know my limits. I know I'm capable of a lot and I can take on a lot, but I also know my minutes, my boundaries, and how far I can go. But I've never gone back to that stage where I have tried to commit suicide, and I never would again, because by the time all the things I went through courts and then God's training in my own life personally, I just didn't see life like that anymore. I don't see life like how other people see it. I just, a lot of it, I can't explain what I mean. I just don't see life's challenges the way other people see it. I'm good at solving problems. I'm good with people. I actually do love people, even though people don't really see me much or anything. It's because of my situation is out of my control, and I'm just controlling my well-being, my mental stress and everything, and just setting boundaries there, putting myself first. That's just the way it is at the moment until what I'm going through. The circumstance change, but I think I'll leave it at there now. Everything is really intimate, okay? So I'm just going to go with it, but people are interfering intimately with what I'm going through, and it's really easy to undo, okay? People are interfering in everything I'm doing, so I have found it really frustrating. Even my court cases. Today I went to see the courts and I don't like the way the courts are set up. The way it's set up, the things they're actually telling us, it's like more, they're using the front desk or the hub desk or the phone calls like a block out to block out individuals. So I oppose the system. I'll keep everybody in the moment with my court cases. I think I've already told you about the Ministry of Health and that. And today I was just talking about what they were telling me. But I've actually researched the laws, and it's not good. It's not good the way they've dealt with my case. It's not good at all according to the laws. But I'm definitely a lockout, which is illegal regardless. So I'm just going to go with it. But I can tell you now, according to the laws, the Ministry of Health and City Med is officially legally charged. I've signed the charging documents and I've researched the laws, and the laws clearly says that when charging documents being charged, they remain whether the actual people that are charged, they're charged until they're actually withdrawn, okay? Whether they're signed or not signed. I did read that up. I did my research, so I can confirm that they are charged. They're actually impeding they're impeding my case. I'll just have a look at this. Okay, so before going on to the suicide, before I find that law to do with impeding, suicidal pact is what I've gone through. Okay, so the people that are doing what they're doing in relation to this relationship scam, they fall in this. Okay, but I have not appreciated what they're doing to me. I do not appreciate to being used for for relationship scam, making me feel like I'm not good enough for anything. But the game in the relationship scam, if the investigators watched television, it's called Fresher. Okay, Fresher, they're actually meaning they're actually referring to the relationship scam, whether it's to traffic young women for men. The abuse that they've done to me is disgusting. Like, they're referring to body parts. Honestly, it all can be used against them, but for me, like, when I first heard the things they were saying about me, I just absolutely horrified. Absolutely horrified. You have to be mentally sick to actually talk about a woman the way they have spoken about me and body parts. Whether it's to put off other men, whether it's, just to draw people to turn away from me. It is despicable. Really, I mean, how would you I'd give you a bet you wouldn't even survive it. If you had to go through what I've gone through, you wouldn't even survive it a month if you're lucky, because what they are doing is actually a suicidal pact, enough to make a person commit suicide. Okay, but suicidal pact is a crime. Just hang on a moment. I've actually charged the Ministry of Health aiding and abetting suicide. A Ministry of Justice will probably get to that too, because there were incidents in my court cases where I actually begged the judge to help me. They made me beg. They made me beg several times in my court cases. And if I wasn't strong enough, I would have committed suicide. So I've already charged the Ministry of Health for aiding and abetting suicide. Because, the things that were said in court is everything was true. I basically begged the judge, or several judges actually, even when they used the Mental Health Act on me, and then I ended up proving them wrong, that they had no evidence. It was all part of an organised scam to ruin my reputation. But they made me beg for my life. So they can be charged aiding and abetting suicide. All right, so that is 14 years imprisonment. And I have officially charged Ministry of Health with that, because there's sufficient evidence for that, because they made me beg for my life. And then it continued on and made me beg for my life, and then having other people trying to murder me or, try and hurt me to make me kill myself. So there you go. So all the corporate bodies legally can also be charged for impeding rescue. Okay? That's what they've done to my case. They're lying to me. They're buying time, and I know they've done that deliberately to help the defendant, or to help the people that have actually committed the offence to move overseas or to run away. Okay, so that's what they've done to me historically with the relation. They're committing the crime and then helping them leave the crime scene. And this is where the employees are self-sacrificing themselves to help save their work colleague or save somebody that's actually committed an offence. So the corporate bodies can actually be charged for impeding rescue. This includes when I've actually made applications because I've needed it. I've said I'm desperate, I need to get it, stuff like that, which I did with my Kiwi Saver, and with the situation that I did with what I was going through, like everything I submitted was true and correct, and to get a person, an administration person or whoever was handling it, She definitely wasn't the person. Like on the laws, it clearly states who are meant to make decisions for cases like that, like, you know, where people are submitting their applications and stuff like that. But there are people legally that are responsible for that. But we're getting people who don't have that experience whatsoever making decisions, and then they are just taking one law and then focus on that law, okay? But I'm just using that as an example, okay? So they could also get charged too, because I have done everything correctly and they haven't come back with a sufficient reasoning that will free them if I decided to take them to court. But it is 10 years imprisonment. What the courts are doing, what, you know, they're making me do all these things because they're lying. They're helping each other. They're buying time. And then sometimes I felt they're just waiting for someone to murder me. I mean, that's quite clear with the way they're inciting. You know, it's getting better now for like whoever's behind the investigation. Congratulations to you. But I know we're all in a learning process. But yeah, this is the new age system, which is absolutely illegal. So hopefully in time it will get polished, and hopefully other people can, you know, read the signs and see, you know, read their circumstances definitely, you know, like read it in a different kind of a mindset and not give up. But it is global, making it very serious and dangerous for everyone. So the Ministry of Justice and the police, New Zealand Police, PSA, Independent Police Code of Conduct, can also be charged for conspiracy to defeat justice. Also, the charge for impeding rescue, because they didn't investigate, they are now liable for all the loss of lives. Okay, so it's like the Titanic boat when, you know, the boat leaked and it killed heaps of innocent civilians. So that's what my case is about. It's like that. Because I belong to church, and now that there is quite clear evidence of home invasion and other things taking place. I will finish at that because my computer's gone off. But so that charge for impeding rescue, I'll just try and put this on while I'm talking to you. The Church of Christ New Zealand, because it's warlike crimes now, okay, because of the historical case. But the protected disclosure now makes the New Zealand Police, makes the government going back then, and everybody else in the higher hierarchy involved in my case who didn't do anything about it. They didn't investigate my complaints like they should have. They left me in the environment, endangered my life, and I nearly got killed. And then if it affects the church that I tried to protect. So that's what happens in the legal, like warlike crimes conspiracy, and that's what's happened to me. So the protected disclosure actually legally by law falls in place. Okay, so my light's just gone off on my... So I better finish up on this. This is letting me know time's up. But yeah, so I'll leave it at that. But that's how it works in the criminal jurisdiction for acts of terrorism. So the protected disclosure does definitely come in place and in law. And my case brings out all the old laws that they've deleted. My case brings all that out actively. I haven't got time to explain why and how. It just does. Okay then. Thanks everyone.